Breaking news, the first poll results of the election campaign. Who is ahead? Church services, parklands and beaches packed. Queenslanders embraced the first restriction-free Easter in 2 years. Nightclub chaos, a police officer knocked unconscious in a wild brawl. The Duke of Sussex's message of support to those fighting in Ukraine, plus Meghan and Harry's intimate on-stage moment. And a story every parent needs to watch, the tiny bright toy that nearly claimed the life of a young boy.
This is 9 News Queensland with Jonathan Upton.
Good evening and straight to breaking news tonight with the new poll just out showing a plunge in support for Labor and Anthony Albanese. The exclusive reclusive poll for the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age finding that after the first week of campaigning and a series of missteps, voters are abandoning the opposition leader.
Among friends and the faithful.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Scott Morrison and his family began their Easter Sunday at their home church in the southern reaches of Sydney to celebrate the Christian feast of Resurrection.
It's a time of great hope and a time that we can look forward to the future with confidence.
While in the far north, Anthony Albanese and his partner Jodie Hayden were at St Monica's Catholic Cathedral in Cairns.
A day when people renew their faith.
But the opposition leader again struck trouble on a question about border protection.
Do you remain committed to Operation Sovereign Borders? And if so, do you support the retention of temporary protection visas?
Yes.
And was again forced to return to the microphone to clarify.
Earlier on, I heard half the question and didn't hear all of it. Labor's policy is to support Operation Sovereign Borders. We support offshore processing. We support resettlement in third countries. We don't support temporary protection visas.
This comes on the back of last week's missteps, which began with a question on the unemployment rate.
I'm not sure what it is.
And continued with clarifications on health costings and offshore processing.
But you would keep those centres, just clarifying you would...
Yes.
You would keep the centres.
The unforced errors are adding up, and the stark message is recorded in polling conducted last week by the Sydney Morning Herald and Age Resolve Political Monitor. Labor's primary vote has plunged 4 points from 38 to 34% in a fortnight, and the Coalition's primary vote is up 1 point, with a surge in the uncommitted vote from 21% to 27%. So more than 1 in 4 voters is yet to decide who they will back. The news is even worse for Labor in the preferred Prime Minister race. Scott Morrison is up 2 points, and Anthony Albanese has plummeted 7 points to 30%.
I'm begging.
The Prime Minister broke the unofficial Easter campaign truce by announcing more support for the 71,000 Australians with type 1 diabetes and revealing Senator Anne Ruston would replace retiring Health Minister Greg Hunt, who almost beat the Prime Minister to the announcement.
To introduce my friend.
Hang on a sec.
Yeah.
I have an important announcement I've got to make first.
Senator Ruston came under fire for comments she made in 2014 when she said that Medicare was becoming unsustainable. She has recanted.
Look, our government has been absolutely clear that we are not cutting Medicare.
But the focus of the second week of this campaign will again fall on the contest between two men. The good news in the polls will put a spring in the government's step and send a shudder down the spine of Labor.
So just how bad is this poll result for Labor? Here's Nine's political editor, Chris Ullman.
This is an abysmal result for Labor. The lead it enjoyed going into this race has evaporated. On these numbers, this contest is now too close to call. And with more than 1 in 4 of those polled saying they're uncommitted, government will be won or lost in this campaign. So every single day is consequential. The profound irony is that Labor framed this race as a referendum on Scott Morrison. Perhaps now it's dawning on those who engineered it that a character contest cuts both ways. People are weighing the devil they know against a largely unknown contender, and Anthony Albanese's first impressions have been bad. Running a small target strategy with no big policy on offer, Labor has a weak case for change. It now all hinges on the leaders, and it's game on.
Despite looming rain and the threat of COVID, churches and parklands were packed today as families across the state marked Easter Sunday. Many came together to celebrate new beginnings, putting the challenges of the pandemic, natural disasters and isolation behind them.
Whether it's with a few mates...
Let's find these eggs! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Away, we can go 5.
Just by yourself... or hunting with hundreds. Easter Sunday always comes with its morning rewards for those who are seeking. While the parkland's filled with fitness enthusiasts, the city's churches also prepared for bumper crowds. St Stephen's Catholic Cathedral at capacity, with more than 1,000 of the faithful to celebrate the most pivotal day on the Christian calendar, a far cry from last year's restricted services.
In darkness, man will be resilient and come through whatever turmoil.
Showing us the love that we don't see very much nowadays, and we need that love.
There is a light that can be discovered at the heart of darkness, and I think people are looking for that, even though they mightn't be able to name it as I would.
The organ rang out in celebration at St John's Anglican too. Where the Governor joined the congregation. Same songs of celebration sung at the Park Uniting Church, where the organ was replaced by brass. For the first Easter in more than 2 years, the restrictions keeping families apart are no more. But many have fine-tuned some skills in the pandemic when it comes to gathering outside.
Happy Easter!
Despite the cloudy sky and recent floods, Brisbane's parks are once again thriving.
Happy Easter!
Even animals didn't miss out on the love this year. Down south at the Adelaide Zoo, it was mealworm treats for the bilbies and sweet potato for the quokkas. Tourism operators around the country are hoping this long weekend supercharges a weary industry that needs a resurrection of its own. Josh Babbis, 9 News.
Alive now to Chloe Robinson at Burleigh Heads. Chloe, the coasts, theme parks and beaches proved very popular with families celebrating Easter Sunday.
Well, it's been the busiest Easter we've seen in 2 years, Jonathan. I'm down here at Burleigh Heads where you can see it is absolutely packed with families, and I think a few kids on a sugar high after some chocolate eggs. For the first time since the pandemic began, we've been able to welcome interstate and international tourists for the Easter school holidays. Our beaches were the place to be today, with hundreds of visitors and locals making the most of the long weekend. We did see some scattered showers, but beachgoers didn't let that dampen their Easter spirit. Plenty of people enjoying the surf, others hitting the water on jet skis and in boats. And if the car parks are anything to go by, our theme parks were just as busy today. Families queuing up to squeeze in one more ride before Queensland school holidays come to an end. That, of course, is on Tuesday, Jonathan, but we are expecting a bumper Easter Monday tomorrow because there's still plenty left to celebrate.
Yes, the long weekend isn't done yet, Chloe. Thank you. 2 senior police constables have spent the night in hospital after being savagely attacked during a wild brawl outside a Gold Coast nightclub. King hit from behind. One officer was knocked unconscious to the ground as his partner tried to fight back a group of drunken revellers.
In Surfers Paradise, police backup called in as chaos breaks out on Orchard Avenue. It's just before midnight and 2 senior constables, both aged in their 40s, have just been assaulted by this group of youths. One officer, King, hit from behind, knocked to the ground unconscious, allegedly at the hands of an intoxicated 21-year-old.
We as police are appalled by this vicious act of thuggery and cowardice.
The senior officers were called here to the Havana R&B nightclub to break up a fight between revellers outside the entrance. When they stepped in, 9 News understands the group brutally retaliated.
We don't come to work to be assaulted, but we come to work to protect the Queensland community.
Partygoers have told 9 News the commotion initially started inside this club when one reveller was punched at the bar during birthday celebrations. Kicked out of the venue, the fight sprawled onto the street, quickly turning into an attack on police simply doing their job.
And they're here every night just keeping the peace, but it just gets out of control.
This is security footage inside Susie Tucker's restaurant moments after the brawl broke out.
Pretty huge that I just wouldn't let anyone out my doors, so just for their own safety.
Business owners say violence in the party precinct is escalating.
It's scary just walking down the street after midnight.
Both police officers were taken to hospital but have since been discharged and are tonight home with their families for Easter.
This once again demonstrates the work that police need to do day in and day out.
3 men have been charged over the brutal assault. All have been released on bail, including a 21-year-old Coomera man who allegedly delivered the Coward King hit, running away before police arrested him. All have been banned from entering this precinct again. Annie Puller, 9 News.
A man's been charged after police say he posed as a learner driver before attempting to kidnap the instructor at knife point. Alex Heinke has the details for us and joins us live. Alex, how did this happen?
Yeah, Jonathan, this all occurred yesterday, and police say that this 24-year-old Sunnybank Hills man, as you mentioned, has essentially posed as a learner driver, getting an instructor to an Acacia Ridge property. He's jumped inside not to take a lesson. Police say he's threatened that instructor at knife point, demanding he drive to an Anala shopping centre. But this is where things get interesting. This man has jumped outside and tried to kidnap another woman that is known to him. And in this moment of madness, the instructor has been managed to escape and alerted authorities. That Sunnybank Hills man was arrested moments later. He's been charged with a long list of offences, Jonathan, and will appear in the court behind me first thing tomorrow morning. 9 News will keep across it. Alex, thank you. The astounding cost of speeding tickets racked up by Queensland drivers has been revealed. Almost $690,000 a day is being raked in by the Queensland government, or $447 every minute. All up, speeding tickets alone adding $251 million to state coffers last year. The revenue raised by infringements is expected to jump dramatically when the dollar value of fines increases by around 175% on July 1. Cruise liners have been given the green light to set sail into Australia from today, but it'll be a while before the first passengers start embarking. Nick Kelly is live for us at the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal. Nick, when will it be anchors up here in Queensland?
Yes, well, as you say, Jonathan, it won't be for a while because these are massive mechanisms that you can't just flick a switch and have it start up overnight. But the first cruise ship will sail into Circular Quay down in Sydney tomorrow to start getting ready for a sailing date of May 31st. It will then make its way up here to Brisbane on a 4-day journey, 4-night journey rather, and come here to the International Cruise Terminal. Queensland's first cruise, however, won't leave until August 27. That will be a reef discovery cruise up to the Great Barrier Reef, up to Cairns and Port Douglas. Now, people embarking here will be the first people to actually use this brand new International Cruise Terminal, which construction, sadly enough, finished right at the start of the COVID pandemic. So no one has actually embarked on a cruise ship from this new Pinkenba facility just yet. But Jonathan, when they do, it will be a massive boon for the Queensland economy because cruise passengers spend $1 billion a year here on land in Queensland.
And doesn't the industry need it, Nick? Thank you. A huge inferno has ravaged 2 takeaway shops in Melbourne, sparking panic from witnesses and sending flames shooting high into the air. The Red Rooster, a neighbouring kebab shop, collapsing under the intensity of the fire.
From roast chicken to a charred pile of rubble.
Someone say burnt chicken dinner.
Fire takes hold at this Mornington Red Rooster and the neighbouring kebab shop.
Oh no.
Oh, the roof came down.
I think it's probably a good time to leave. Oh, I can feel the fire now. I can feel the fire. Felt like you were nearly sitting on a fire. Like it was real hot. I just did what every normal kid would do and just recorded it. And I happened to get some good footage of it. Anyone want to go get some marshmallows?
It's believed the fire started in the front of Mornington Star Kebabs, a business Yildiz Akdagan has owned for 4 years.
I just saw flame and the building just falling apart suddenly, 5 minutes. Just a lot of flame everywhere. Like it's my baby, it was my baby.
Crews got there quickly, the fire station just around the corner, but it was still tough, bringing the blaze under control.
Water was difficult to obtain around here, being fire hydrants. We had to go a fair way for fire hydrants. And the quick growth of the fire and the intensity obviously presented us with challenges.
As the firefight raged through the afternoon, the Red Rooster also came crashing down.
Oh, it's just collapsed.
I'm a bit emotional about it all going on.
Why are you emotional?
Oh, because Red Rooster's my favourite shop.
A fast food inferno and a big clean-up ahead.
Goodbye, Red Rooster Mornington.
Reid Butler, 9 News.
There's been a shocking vandalism attack in Melbourne with a swastika poisoned into a field used for children's soccer games. The Nazi symbol was spotted by the grandson of Holocaust survivors while taking a helicopter ride above the reserve. The council says it will use seed to cover the dead grass. A 14-year-old girl has been shot at a high school carnival in Virginia. Multiple gunshots were fired following a brawl in a car park. A stray bullet also hitting a car as it was leaving. The teenage shooter was seen fleeing in a red hoodie. The victim's injuries are not life-threatening. Police have cut a woman off the top of a car in London after the climate protester glued herself to the roof. The woman was carried away in handcuffs, one of thousands of Extinction Rebellion protesters who took to the streets this weekend. A reminder tonight from the Electoral Commission, you have until 8 o'clock tomorrow night to make sure you're enrolled to vote in the upcoming federal election. To check if you're listed or to update your details, go to aec.gov.au. Failing to vote can lead to a $20 fine. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle marked the opening of the Invictus Games. The couple delivering a powerful message, standing tall with war-stricken Ukraine. Panic on the Bruce Highway after a car bursts into flames. A flight descends into a shootout at a US shopping centre. And at the end of sport, don't miss the unbelievable $5 million discovery in a tiny Australian town.
Drought.
How hard is it to come out here every day and see that?
Floods.
If this water continues to come up, that is not supposed to happen.
And fire.
There's another 10,000 hectares at risk.
The heartbreaking stories that go with living in the place we all call home. And the heroes that keep the spirit alive. 9 News Queensland. News delivered by Queenslanders for Queenslanders.